Good morning, colleagues, friends. Having confirmed the quorum by the Secretariat, I am pleased to declare open this regular meeting of the Permanent Council, convened to consider the items contained in the order of business document CP/OD-2579/26, which is hereby submitted for the Council's consideration. There being no observations, we will proceed to adopt the agenda. Adopted. Before, I was waiting to see them. Apologies. Canada is requesting the floor. We'll have the delegation of Canada.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and good morning. I just wanted to take the floor, Mr. Chair, to clarify that the delegation of Canada and the delegation of Guatemala had submitted a declaration for the establishment of the Inter-American Day Against Arbitrary Detention. And our goal today was to present the text of this proposal and provide additional time to all delegations to consult with their capitals and come back to this forum in potentially 2 weeks or maybe in 4 weeks to consider the adoption of the project. But I wanted to clarify that we removed this item from the agenda to ensure that all delegations have enough time to undertake the consultations so that we can meet again. And I apologize for this confusion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Delegation of Canada. We note your comments and contributions. As we proceed with the agenda, it will be noted. Before we proceed, I'd like to extend on behalf of the Council our deepest condolences to the government and people of Mexico on the passing of Ambassador Carmen Moreno. Ambassador Moreno dedicated her life to the Mexican Foreign Service and made history as the first woman to be granted the rank of eminent ambassador by the Mexican Chancellery. Throughout her distinguished career, she was a tireless advocate for diplomacy, international cooperation, and the advancement of human rights. Her legacy in the House and throughout the inter-American system is profound. She served as Mexico's first woman permanent representative to the OAS and as Executive Secretary for the Inter-American Commission of Women, where she played a pioneering role in advancing the participation and leadership of women in public life and in strengthening the regional commitment to gender equality. Her contributions to multilateralism, dialogue, and to the values of inter-American system will continue to inspire future generations of diplomats and leaders throughout our hemisphere. Additionally, we extend our deepest condolences to the government and people of Barbados, to the Caribbean region, and to the global cricket community on the passing of Sir Garfield Sobers. Sir Garfield Sobers was not only one of the greatest cricketers in the history, but also a symbol of Caribbean excellence, perseverance, and distinction. Through his remarkable talent, sportsmanship, and leadership, he brought immense pride to Barbados and inspired generations throughout the Caribbean, the Americas, and beyond. His achievements transcended the field of sports, reflecting the values of dedication, integrity, and excellence that continue to inspire countless individuals. Also, I wish to express deep solidarity with the government and people of Guyana following the recent tragic ferry accident. This heartbreaking event has claimed precious lives and brought immense grief to families across the nation. Our thoughts and prayers are with the victims, their loved ones, and all those affected, as well as with the rescuers and emergency personnel working tirelessly on the ground. Finally, we express our firm support and solidarity with the government and people of Canada as they face a devastating impact of the ongoing wildfires. These ferocious blazes continue to threaten homes, livelihoods, and natural habitats across the region. We commend the extraordinary courage and selflessness of the firefighters and emergency responders working tirelessly around the clock to protect their communities and contain the flames. Let us now observe a moment of silence in tribute to Ambassador Carmen Moreno and Sir Garfield Sobers, and in memory of those who lost their lives in the tragic ferry accident in Guyana, and in solidarity with those affected by the wildfires in Canada. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. For all those who have died, may their soul rest in peace. Under other matters, I would also like, on behalf of the Permanent Council, to extend our warm congratulations to the government and people of Canada on the occasion of Canada Day on July 1st. The United States on Independence Day on July 4th, Venezuela on Independence Day, July 5th, Argentina on Independence Day, July 9th, the Bahamas on Independence Day, July 10th, and Colombia on Independence Day, July 20th. Yeah, I think Ecuador was yesterday. Congratulations. May these celebrations continue to strengthen the values, unity, and rich cultural heritage that define each of those nations and enrich our inter-American community. I would also like to extend our warmest congratulations to the Permanent Observer of Spain and to the people of Spain on winning the 2026 FIFA World Cup. At this time, we commend the governments and people of Canada, Mexico, and the United States for the outstanding success of this tournament. Their joint hosting of the World Cup exemplified a spirit of cooperation, hospitality, and shared commitment that defines our hemisphere. Esteemed colleagues, as this is my first meeting of the Permanent Council in my capacity as chair, I would like to briefly share the vision that will guide our work during that presidency. As reflected in the tentative work plan, circulated to all delegations, our guiding theme will be advancing the continued governance and effectiveness of the Permanent Council and the role of the Organization of American States in hemispheric integration. Guided by this vision, we will seek to strengthen our collective work through dialogue, cooperation, and consensus, while enhancing the effectiveness and relevance of the Council as the central political forum of our hemisphere. I look forward to the continued support and constructive engagement of all delegations and the General Secretariat as we work together in service of our organization and the peoples of the Americas. Finally, before I proceed on our agenda, I would like to inform the Council that the commemorative gravel has arrived in Costa Rica. In accordance with the tradition of the Permanent Council, the gavel will serve as the lasting token of appreciation and recognition to our dear colleague and friend, Ambassador Alexandra Solano, who presided over the work of this council with great distinction during the previous quarter. On behalf of the council, I wish to express our sincere gratitude for Ambassador Solano's leadership, dedication, and valuable contributions to our work, to extend our best wishes for the continued success in her future endeavors. We now move to item 2 on the agenda. Consideration of the draft declaration, expression of appreciation to the host of the 56th regular session of the OAS General Assembly. As the next item on our order of business, and in accordance with the request submitted by the delegation of the United States, the Council will consider the draft declaration entitled Expression of Appreciation to the host of the 56th regular session of the General Assembly of the Organization of American States, which has been co-sponsored by the delegations of Argentina, Brazil, the Dominican Republic, Jamaica, Mexico, Bolivia, and Ecuador. For this purpose, I give the floor to the delegation of the United States for the presentation of the draft declaration.
Good morning. Thank you, Chair. My delegation, first of all, looks forward to working with you as you lead this council. Thank you for the opportunity to provide context on the declaration, expression of appreciation to the host of the 56th regular session of the Organization of American States General Assembly that the United States is presenting to this council for consideration. Exactly a month ago, the Republic of Panama welcomed the OAS General Assembly to Panama City. And the timing could not have been more meaningful. This year, the OAS and its member states are celebrating several pivotal anniversaries. This includes the 200th anniversary of the Congress of Panama, the gathering Simón Bolívar convened in 1826 to unite the newly independent nations of our hemisphere around a shared vision of cooperation and solidarity. As this council resumes its work, the United States would like to take a moment to reaffirm the gratitude that was expressed in Resolution AG-RES 3064 and formally thank the government and people of Panama for their leadership, professionalism, and generosity in making the 56th session of the OAS General Assembly a meaningful and successful conference. The United States extends our appreciation to the delegations of Argentina, Brazil, Bolivia, Dominican Republic, Jamaica, and Mexico for their co-sponsorship of this document. We also appreciate all delegations who have verbally expressed their support. Chair, we request that this council consider and adopt this declaration today. Thank you.
I thank the delegation of the United States for its presentation. I now offer the floor to those delegations wishing to comment on the draft declaration before us. We recognize the delegation of Uruguay.
Chair, at the outset, I would like to congratulate you on your election as chair of the Permanent Council and express that Uruguay is ready and willing to work with you during your term, as this is the first time that we are taking the floor during your presidency. We would also like to thank the U.S. for taking the initiative to present this draft declaration, thanking Panama for being an extraordinary host of the 56th regular session of the OAS General Assembly, which my delegation is pleased to support. We would like to express our sincerest thanks to the people and government of Panama for their hospitality offered to all delegations and for their work to ensure a very successful meeting, which coincided with the bicentennial of the Congress of Panama. They also organize other high-level events. I would also like to thank the Secretary General, the OAS General Secretary, and all those who worked on logistics and the teams of translators and interpreters. We appreciate the dedication and professionalism of the host government to the substantive dialogues that took place during the meetings, and the professionalism of their chancellery allowed us to make headway, and delegations were able to reach consensus and agreements. There will be a new cycle of negotiations, and we call upon all member states to renew their commitments to work in a constructive manner, bearing in mind lessons learned and reaching further agreements that will highlight the importance of the OAS for our countries. We reaffirm the purposes and principles of this organization. The protection of human rights for all without discrimination, protection of democracy, cooperation on security and fighting transnational organized crime, and ensuring the security of our peoples. I thank you.
Thank you, delegation of Uruguay. And I recognize the delegation of Argentina.
Buen día.
Good morning, Chair. Congratulations. At the start of your term, we very much look forward to your term and your leadership of this council so that we can reach consensus and hear from all delegations. I would also like to greet all of my colleagues. And briefly, if I may, after hearing from the U.S. and Uruguay, they've said what I wanted to say, but I just wanted to add, on behalf of my delegation and my foreign ministry, I would like to recognize and express thanks to the government of Panama for its commitments and dedication in organizing the assembly. We all knew that this was going to be a complex task during difficult times where there were issues regarding logistics and organization, as well as the ability to facilitate consensus amongst delegations. For both substantive and procedural matters, there were clear priorities that emerged, such as the issue of Bolivia and the issue of Haiti. Here, I would like to congratulate all delegations because in my humble vision, everyone was able to contribute a part of the consensus that was garnered. I would like to echo what my esteemed colleague from Uruguay said. The Secretary General and Assistant Secretarial played a key role, as did all of their teams. Thank you.
Thank you, delegation of Argentina. The floor is now in Augusto, Grenada.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good morning to everyone, colleagues. Mr. Chair, I first of all want to congratulate you on your assumption of the presidency of the Council, and we look forward to a strong work and much success in your tenure. We are pleased to join in supporting this resolution, this paper, this declaration, and we want to sit together to commending the government and the people of the Republic of Panama for hosting a very excellent 56th regular session of the General Assembly. We mentioned here that beyond the efficient organization of the Assembly itself, what distinguished Panama for us was its success in creating an environment conducive to genuine dialogue. At a time when our hemisphere continues to confront a lot of difficulties and at times very divergent issues as were brought to the fore there. Panama provided a setting in which our member states were able to engage one another with respect, with candor, and shared commitment to work of this organization. And that achievement is entirely consistent with the enduring legacy of the Amphitronic Congress of Panama, whose bicentenary we commemorated this year. So not merely as an historic event we did that, but as a continuing reminder that dialogue remains the surest path to cooperation among the nations of the Americas. Grenada therefore warmly supports this declaration and respectfully, even at this late stage on the floor, requests that we be added, as Grenada be added and listed as one of the co-sponsors. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, delegation of Grenada. The floor now goes to the delegation of Mexico.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, sir. Good morning, one and all, distinguished colleagues. A delegation of Mexico would like to add its voice in wishing success to you, Chair, on your chairmanship of the Permanent Council. And we'd like to reiterate to you our commitment and support to strengthen dialogue, the work of the Council, and the building of consensus. My country would like to join in this declaration, which reiterates our gratitude to the government and people of Panama for having hosted the last GA of the OAS successfully, where resolutions were passed that clearly reflect the current state of multilateralism in our hemisphere and our organization's goals. Mexico is committed to continue promoting in all spaces of the organization firm and inclusive multilateralism, whereby the defense of democracy is linked to the strict attachment to international law, sovereignty of states, and the peaceful resolution of disputes. It is a multilateralism that promotes protection and promotion of human rights of all people and vulnerable groups and those that have been historically disenfranchised. It promotes the substantive equality of gender, cooperation amongst peers, hemispheric security, and such as fighting transnational organized crime, illicit trafficking of weapons, and the world drug problem. We would call on all members to continue making efforts to promote our multilateralism and improve it so that above and beyond circumstances, people will be the main beneficiaries of our daily work. Sir, and as the resolution has not yet been approved, I would call that it be approved by acclamation.
Thank you, and thank you, delegation of Mexico. The draft declaration. Oh. Panama, you now have the floor.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, Chair. First and foremost, I'd like to begin by congratulating you, Ambassador and Ferrol, and my friend, for assuming the chairmanship of the Permanent Council. The delegation of Panama wishes you every success during this session, and we are entirely available to you to support you in all that might be necessary. Having said that, on behalf of the government of the Republic of Panama, I would like to express our deepest and most sincere gratitude to the United States for promoting this initiative, and we'd also like to thank the missions of Argentina, Bolivia, Brazil, Jamaica, Ecuador, Mexico, the Dominican Republic, for co-sponsoring it, and for all members for adopting it by acclamation today and providing us with this recognition. We receive this gesture with the greatest humility and with a great sense of responsibility because it reflects the spirit of solidarity, friendship, and cooperation which characterize our organization. It was truly an honor and privilege for the Republic of Panama to have hosted the 56th Regular General Assembly of the Organization of American States. And it was a privilege to have welcomed you in our lands, delegations of all member states, permanent observers, international bodies, civil society, the private sector, and other actors who all contributed to the success of this historic meeting. This General Assembly for Panama was particularly significant because it coincided with the bicentennial of the Bicentennial of Panama of 1826, which occurred and invited us to not only honor our shared history, but also to honor our commitment to the principles which continue to guide the inter-American system: dialogue, cooperation, mutual respect, and the quest for common solutions to the challenges in our hemisphere. The results achieved during the General Assembly reflect the commitment of its member states to strengthen multilateralism, and it reflects our organization's capacity to build consensus. Adopting significant resolutions and declarations, as well as the fruitful exchanges that were held during those days, all clearly show that when we work standing together, united, we're able to find concrete responses to meet the priorities of our people. Distinguished Chair and colleagues, it was no doubt that the success was no doubt the result of a collective effort. From Panama, we assumed responsibility with the conviction that to serve as a host country meant to put our country to the services organization, and not just in terms of institutions, but also our traditional vocation of meeting, dialogue, and understanding amongst nations. May I, on behalf of His Excellency, our President, Jose Manuel Molino Critero, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Javier Martinez Achabase, Vice Minister of Multilateral Affairs and Cooperation, His Excellency Carlos Guevara Man, and the entire team of the Foreign Ministry of the Permanent Mission to Panama, of Panama to the OAS. On behalf of all of them, we would like to express our deepest gratitude to all of you for this resolution adopted by acclamation. For Panama, 2 centuries ago and just recently, receiving this General Assembly and hosting it reflects our commitment to building a more democratic, safe, and prosperous and united hemisphere. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegation of Panama. There being no other request for the floor, the draft declaration, we kind of skipped the process a bit. The draft declaration entitled Expression of Appreciation to the Host of the 56th Regular Session of the General Assembly of the Organization of American States is approved by acclamation. We now proceed with the installation of the subsidiary organs of the Permanent Council in accordance with Article 28 of the Rules of Procedure. I therefore consult the Council on whether there is agreement to install the Permanent Committee established under Article 14, which shall serve for a period of 1 year in accordance with Article 27. I recall that the Committee on Administration and Budgetary Affairs will be installed in January 2027 as provided for in Article 28. If there are no objections, the Permanent Council hereby, the permanent committees are hereby installed. We will now proceed with the election of the chair of the Committee of Juridical and Political Affairs in accordance with Article 28 of the Rules of Procedures. We would like to take this opportunity to sincerely thank Ambassador Edison Lanza, Permanent Representative of Uruguay, for his leadership and dedicated work throughout the tenure as chair of this committee. The chair elected today will hold office for a term of 1 year, as stipulated in Article 29A of the Rules of Procedure. In this regard, the candidacy of Ambassador Marilyn Cordero, Permanent Representative of the Dominican Republic, has been submitted. This nomination was presented by the delegation of the Dominican Republic as reflected in document CP/INF 10989/26. I now offer the floor to delegates. I recognize the delegation of El Salvador.
Muchas gracias, señor presidente.
Thank you very much, sir. As this is my first statement today, I'd like to begin by congratulating you, sir, for assuming the stewardship of this council and offer you the support of my delegation for success. We would also like to join in the expression of condolences to the Mexico government, Guyana, Barbados, and Canada for the very unfortunate and irreparable losses, and we'd like to express our solidarity for their peoples and families. As to the issue before us, El Salvador would like to suggest Ambassador Rodriguez, representative of the Dominican Republic for the OAS, in order to assume chairmanship of the Committee of Juridical Affairs. Ambassador Cordero is a diplomat from his country in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of more than 30 years of experience. She has a long professional trajectory in diplomacy, international affairs, international law, human rights, and international humanitarian law, amongst others. She is currently responsible for the Inter-American Committee and participation of civil society in activities of the OAS in the context of the pro tempore chairmanship of her country of the OAS. She has been a plenipotentiary ambassador in Costa Rica, ambassador to the United States, and a permanent mission to the OAS, where she held a number of positions, including alternate for the Legal and Political Affairs Committee, and at the helm of the committee, and she was chair of a number of the groups. So she has sound knowledge of the work of the Committee of Juridical Affairs. Ambassador Cordero came from the University Católica with postgraduate studies from the George Mason University and postgraduate degree in international affairs from the University in Spain. She's also studied international law, human rights, and international humanitarian law in recognized institutions such as the Inter-American Institute of Human Rights, the Red Cross, the Spanish institution. She has a long career in diplomacy and applicable experiences in a number of different bodies in her country. Ambassador Cordero is distinguished by her abilities to negotiate, lead, and speak well. She also is firmly committed to multilateralism, to democratic values of the hemisphere, and the protection and promotion of human rights. For all these reasons, we entirely trust that she will lead the work of the Juridical Committee to Safe Harbor. Thank you.
Thank you, delegation of El Salvador, for presenting the candidacy. We'll now hand over the floor to the delegation of Peru.
Muchas gracias, señor presidente.
Thank you very much, sir. I'd like to begin by reiterating my delegation's congratulations to you on assuming responsibility of the chairmanship of the Permanent Council and reiterate Peru's full support to your stewardship in the coming weeks. The delegation of Peru fully supports what was said by the permanent representative of El Salvador, Ambassador Buendia Severo. The excellent and very high-level qualities, both personally and professional, of Ambassador Cordero and her vast experience and knowledge of the topics that this organization deals with are well recognized by all delegations of member states. In that regard, sir, the delegation of Peru would invite member states to, by acclamation, support the election of Ambassador Cordero as chair of the Committee on Political and Juridical Affairs. We are entirely convinced that her stewardship will be brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegation of Peru. I hereby extend my sincere congratulations to Ambassador Cordero on her election as chair of the Committee on Juridical and Political Affairs of the Permanent Council. We have full confidence in her experience and dedication to the principles of democracy, the rule of law, human rights, and dialogue that guide the work of this committee. We now offer the floor to Ambassador Cordero for any short intervention she may wish to make.
Señor Presidente.
Chair, I'd like to begin by joining in congratulating you on your assumption of the chairmanship of this permanent council, and I'd like to offer you the support and cooperation of the delegation of the Dominican Republic. For me, it is the highest honor to be addressing all of you, to thank you for the trust that all member states have placed in our delegation in electing us to chair the Committee on Political and Juridical Affairs. I'd like to highlight that we take this important functions upon ourselves, guided by the principles of this organization enshrined in the OAS Charter. We are also guided by the institutional and legal legacy of this organization built over the years with the effort and dedication of all member states. I would further like to extend special gratitude to the distinguished delegations of El Salvador and Paraguay for having presented and seconded our candidacy. Their support is a demonstration of confidence that I very much value and which encourages me all the more to shoulder this responsibility in a spirit of service and dedication. This spirit of commitment is particularly important because the committee for many years was a vital part of my diplomatic career in the OAS. I had the privilege, as Ambassador Acevedo already mentioned, I already was served as an alternate during an important part of my diplomatic career. That was an experience that very much contributed to my professional training and my understanding of the value of multilateral dialogue and hemisphere cooperation. And that's why I assume this chairmanship, not just with a high-level sense of institutional responsibility, but also with the deepest sense of appreciation and commitment to an organization that has very much marked my personal experience in this organization. Distinguished representatives, we live in times that mean that the inter-American system needs to have an ongoing capacity for consultation and dialogue. In that context, the Committee on Juridical and Political Affairs will continue to be a key space to promote international law, institutional strengthening, democracy strengthening, human rights, and the quest for consensus. You can be sure that we will work with openness, transparency, and respect for all delegations. We will always seek to facilitate constructive dialogue and to make effective progress in fulfilling the mandate that was conferred upon us. To all of you colleagues, I would like to reiterate our gratitude for having placed in the Dominican Republic and my person so much trust. We hope we can count on the cooperation of each and every delegation to carry forth the management of the committee that's geared to results and is efficient. And I'd like to especially recognize the work done by the permanent representative of Uruguay, Ambassador Edison Lasson, during his chairmanship of the committee, which was highlighted by his commitment, leadership, and his ability to promote dialogue and provide a solid foundation for work. And it will be our privilege to continue building on his legacy. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Cordero. We again extend our congratulations to you as new chair of the Committee on Juridical and Political Affairs. We wish you every success in your new responsibilities. We will now proceed with the elections of the chair of the Committee on Hemispheric Security, in accordance with Article 28 of the Rules of Procedure. At this time, I wish to express the Council's appreciation to Ambassador Ana Irene Delgado, Permanent Representative of Panama, for her valuable contributions and dedicated service during her tenure as chair of the committee. Pursuant to Article 29A of the Rules of Procedure, the chair elected today will serve for a term of 1 year. In this regard, the candidacy of Ambassador Carlos Chermak, Permanent Representative of Argentina, has been submitted by the Delegation of Argentina as reflected in document CP/INF 10994/26. I now offer the floor to the delegations. I recognize the delegation of Paraguay.
Muchas gracias, presidente.
Thank you very much, sir. First and foremost, I too would like to congratulate you on your assumption of the chairmanship of the Permanent Council, and I wish you every success, and you can count on the full cooperation of the delegation of Paraguay. I'd also like to take this time to congratulate my dear colleague of the Dominican Republic, Ambassador Cordero, for just being elected to the chairmanship of the Committee on Juridical and Political Affairs. Sir, it's my pleasure to take the floor in my capacity of coordinator of Group 10 to present the candidacy of the permanent representative of Argentina, Ambassador Cherniak, to be the chair of the Hemispheric Security Committee for 2026 to 2027. This committee is a vital space for political dialogue and cooperation around some of the most complex challenges that our region is facing. Leading it requires experience, the ability to create concertation of efforts, and a firm commitment to multilateralism. And it is precisely for that reason that Working Group 10 agreed on Ambassador Cherniak. We are convinced that his professional qualities, academic background, and human qualities are what is necessary to be at the helm of that body. Ambassador Cherniak has a distinguished diplomatic career behind him of more than 3 decades. For that reason, he's held important responsibilities in international security, defense, nuclear cooperation, and multilateral relations. He has also held positions of leadership in a number of different bodies of the United Nations system, showing recognized capacity to lead negotiations, facilitate agreements, and build consensus. His sound academic background complements a career that's characterized by professional rigor and strategic vision. Above and beyond these indisputable credentials, one of his outstanding achievements was in the context of this organization. In 2025-2026, in the Hemispheric Committee, Ambassador Cherniak showed deep understanding of the agenda and the methods of working of the body. His leadership was characterized by balance, openness to dialogue, and the capacity to bring positions together, all of which is a solid guarantee for the leadership of this committee at this time. Those who've had the privilege of working together with him also know his personal qualities that distinguish him in the exercise of diplomacy. His spirit of service, his respect for all delegations, his ongoing availability to listen, build bridges, and provide understandings. These are precisely the qualities that strengthen member states' trust in him and that will contribute to the success of the work of this organization. Group 10 is convinced that under his chairmanship, the Hemispheric Security Committee will continue consolidating itself as a space for political dialogue and the building of consensus to address common challenges in our hemisphere. For all of the above reasons, Group 10 is honored to present the candidacy of Ambassador Cherniak and to respectfully request the support of the distinguished delegations so that he may lead the Hemispheric Security Committee during 2026 and 2027. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegation of Paraguay, for this presentation. I now offer the floor to the delegation of Chile.
Muchas gracias, señor presidente.
Thank you very much, sir. I would like to convey to you that we're very pleased to see you at the helm of the Permanent Council. Wish you every success and assure you of our cooperation. And we'd like to join in the statement made by the distinguished delegacy of Paraguay, and second, the candidacy of Ambassador Cherniak of Argentina to chair the Hemispheric Security Committee. We recognize Ambassador Cherniak with the diplomatic qualities and the commitment and career necessary to lead the committee and the work of it during this time. As a result, we request that his election take place by acclamation, that he be elected by acclamation. Thank you very much, sir.
I hereby extend my sincere congratulations to Ambassador Cherniak and in his election as chair of the Committee on Hemispheric Security of the Permanent Council. We have full confidence in his expertise, leadership, and dedication to the principles of security, cooperation, dialogue, and consensus building that guide the work of this committee. The chair now offers the floor to Ambassador Cherniak, for any remarks that he may wish to make.
Señor Presidente,
Chair, I know that you are committed to making sure that we finish by 1 o'clock, so I'll be brief. I'd like to thank each and every of my colleagues and friends in Group 10, and I'd like to thank each of the member states for their vote of confidence, support, and generosity in supporting my nomination. I'd just like to emphasize what I always say when I speak. Consensus is key to move forward together. Confidence is built on a daily basis, without surprises, listening and dialoguing a lot, seeking concrete results to help us build a more relevant and effective OAS. That will be what guides my management. And of course, without the commitment of each and every delegation, it would be impossible, no doubt, to actually be successful. And I conclude by specifically congratulating the prior chair, Ana Maria Delgado, my dear friend, for her leadership with personality, efficiency, and commitment, and for the fact that she facilitated teamwork. And she clearly showed that at the helm of the Hemispheric Security. The team and the whole bureau, the way it was run, there was commitment by each and every delegation to put substantive topics on the table to discuss, and that is definitively what countries are expecting. What we want most of all is for the committee to capture the concerns of the members and reflect those. There's no personal agenda being imposed, but rather the issue is to have an agenda that's broad enough so that the committee is seen as relevant for the organization. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador. I once again congratulate you on your election as chair of the Committee on Hemispheric Security and wish you every success in carrying out its new responsibilities. We will now proceed with the consideration of the proposed distribution of mandates assigned by the General... I was late. Yes or no? We now offer the floor to the delegation of the Dominican Republic.
Gracias.
Thank you, Chair. Just briefly, I wanted to congratulate our colleague from Argentina on his election as chair of the CSH, and I'd like to offer the Dominican Republic's cooperation during his tenure. We place the utmost trust in his leadership as chair. Chair, I just wanted to correct something that I said earlier. In my words of thanks, I forgot to mention my friend who was so kind to second my candidacy, and I mentioned my other colleague, and I think I forgot to mention Peru along with Paraguay. So I wish to express my thanks to you for seconding my nomination, and I also thank Paraguay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ambassador. The floor now recognizes the delegation of Peru.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, Chair. It's tricky. We're all sitting together, so it's easy to get us confused. Chair, I also wanted to congratulate the permanent representative of Argentina on becoming chair of the CSH. You have the full support of Peru, sir. I fully believe that your tenure will be excellent when it comes to guiding our work on sensitive issues that affect the region. Ambassador Cherniak said a few weeks ago to me that he will be tackling this challenge and ensuring that he has an impactful agenda that includes all of the matters that are being examined in the OAS on an ongoing basis. And we know that this is very important to my country, and I trust that the ambassador will lead us on the right path and achieve these goals. Thank you very much.
Thank you, delegation of Peru. We will now proceed with the consideration of the proposed distribution of mandates assigned by the General Assembly at its 56th regular session, as well as those those from previous sessions. This proposal is contained in document CP/DOC 6239/26, which has been submitted by the Chair in accordance with Article 30 of the Rules of Procedure. I now offer the floor to delegations wishing to present any comments or observations regarding the document under consideration. If there are no further comments, the Chair proposes that the Council approve the distribution of mandates contained in documents CP/DOC 6239/26 as presented. Approved. We will now proceed with the consideration of the matters referred to by the Committee on Administration and Budgetary Affairs in accordance with the request submitted by the Chair of the Committee as reflected in documents CP/INF 10993/26. First, I consult the Council as to whether there is agreement to endorse the recommendations of CAP and ratify the mandates prioritization exercise considered by the Inter-American Council for Integral Development and the permanent committees of the Permanent Council, as contained in document CP/CAP cap/4282/26. Agreed? Second, I consult the Council as to whether there is agreement to endorse the recommendations of CAP and approve the request from the Inspector General for an extension until December 31, 2026 of the deadline for the completion of the annual review of the CPR terms of reference and the closeout audit of transition costs. Agreed? Jeez.
I'm not certain, Chair, was I offered the floor?
Yes, yes, you do.
Oh, sorry, thank you. Chair, good morning all. The Bahamas certainly took the floor only to offer its concurrence with the request. We express appreciation to the Inspector General for presenting it. My delegation recognizes that the Inspector General only assumed office recently and has inherited this important assignment. In that context, the Bahamas is prepared to support the extensions in the interest of ensuring that the closeout audit is completed with the highest level of accuracy. At the same time, Chair, where established timelines cannot be met, the Member States are entitled to a clear explanation of the circumstances, the implications, and the corrective measures being taken to ensure its completion. The Bahamas consider that this closeout audit must provide more than a confirmation of expenditures incurred. It must provide Member States with reasonable assurance regarding regularity, compliance, economy, efficiency, effectiveness, and stewardship in its planning. Accordingly, the audit should include the following: a complete reconciliation between approved transition budget and the actual expenditures by line item, explanations for material variances, reallocations, adjustments, or amendments, if any, together with confirmation that such actions were properly authorized, verification that expenditures are supported by sufficient and appropriate documentation, a clear distinction between genuine savings, budgetary underspending, and unutilized appropriations. Chair, a favorable budget variance by itself is not evidence of efficiency or effectiveness. Financial disposition and discipline is not measured solely by spending less. It is measured by achieving approved objectives with economy, efficiency, and effectiveness. The audit should therefore determine whether underspending resulted from improved resource management or from deferred activities, reduced implementation, delayed procurement, or other forms of non-execution. Chair, the Bahamas also believes that the transition audit should assess the transition budget from a governance and financial perspective. A transition budget serves a unique institutional purpose. It provides continuity during a change in administration while allowing an incoming administration to assess inherited conditions and responding to circumstances that may differ from initial assumptions. Accordingly, any departures from the approved budget must be transparently documented, appropriately authorized, and supported by a clear audit trail demonstrating the rationale, authority, and financial implications of such decisions. The Bahamas therefore supports the inclusion of a comprehensive transition cost and accountability statement identifying all transition-related activities financed through the regular fund, the reserve sub-fund, specific funds, indirect cost recovery, or any other funding source. Such reporting should reflect recognized public sector financial management principles and traceability and sufficient disclosure to effect governance oversight. Chair, it is important to recall that the transition budget was financed through the regular reserve sub-fund, resources accumulated from Member States' contributions and intended for exceptional and contingent circumstances. These are not ordinary operational resources. They represent the organization's institutional financial resilience. This exercise also reinforces the importance of advancing the organization's transition towards compliance with IPSAS accrual accounting principles in order to ensure completeness, faithful representation, and full cost reporting. Chair, the Bahamas has intentionally emphasized the issue of compliance throughout this discussion. The effectiveness of any institution depends not only on the decisions adopted by its governing bodies, but also on the mechanisms available to ensure that those decisions are respected, implemented, monitored, verified, and where necessary, enforced. In this regard, I'm pleased to disclose that my delegation is developing a proposal for the consideration by member states aimed at strengthening the organization's institutional compliance and enforcement framework. The objective is to establish a more predictable framework that clearly defines compliance obligations, reporting requirements, corrective actions, escalation mechanisms, and where warranted, proportionate consequences for departures from the authorities, regulations, and directives approved by the General Assembly, the Permanent Council, and CD. The Bahamas does not subscribe to a governance culture based on premise that it's preferable to seek forgiveness rather than to obtain permission. Where there is disregard, whether intentional or otherwise, for established authorities, financial and administrative regulations or governing body decisions, the institutions must possess appropriate mechanisms to address non-compliance. It appears that there are a very limited number
You'll have 1 minute, one second to continue.
My apologies, Chair. It appears that there's only a limited number of provisions in this organization for non-compliance. In fact, there are only 2. As such, my delegation will be presenting a proposal, and we look forward to working with the Inspector General not only on the closeout audit, but in putting in place a compliance and enforcement regime. I thank you and the Council for its kind attention.
Thank you, delegation of Bahamas. We note first your support for the extension and look forward to your proposals as presented. So again, at this stage, if there are no more comments, this second request from CAP is approved. Third, I consult the Council as to whether there is agreement to approve the draft resolution entitled Authorization to Continue the OAS CORE Business Modernization Platform Program and extend the use of the Technology Fund agreed upon by CAP and contained in document CP CAP 4289/26 Rev 1. Delegation of Bahamas, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. The delegation of the Bahamas supports the draft resolution as before us. We agree that an independent assessment is both justified and necessary. However, after years of audits, reviews, and evaluation, the organization does not require another diagnostic exercise. It requires a comprehensive program assurance and investment assessment capable of informing future decisions. This assessment must therefore provide the evidence necessary to determine whether OAS Corps remains fit for purpose, fit for investment, and fit for the future. The Bahamas has consistently expressed concerns regarding the governance and execution of this initiative. Please recall that in 2019, I submitted a report to the General Secretariat identifying a litany of governance concerns. Subsequently, on the 13th of May 2023, before this very Council, my delegation emphasized the need for a comprehensive end-to-end business process management framework, an enterprise change management plan, and an independent project manager and assurance supported by benchmark reporting and value stream mapping. Regrettably, those recommendations were not heeded, and here we are again. The first question this assessment must answer is deceptively simple. What exactly is OAS Core in today's and forward perspective, and what is the definition? Is it merely an enterprise resource planning implementation? Is it an enterprise-wide business transformation program? Or is it an initiative that can become the organization's integrated enterprise platform? Those are fundamentally different undertakings requiring different governance arrangements, investment strategies, and accountability frameworks. Accordingly, the assessment should determine whether the OAS Core is an integrated platform that can serve as a single system for finance, human resources, procurement, project and program management, fellowships and scholarships, real and fixed assets management, national offices, service hubs, the internal chargeback system, and other core accounting and institutional business processes. If so, the assessment should affirm and confirm the underlying enterprise architecture, its systems integration, data governance, cybersecurity, and scalability and business process design. This is not the organization's first assessment. The Office of the Inspector General, the accounting firm Baker Tilly, the former Board of External Auditors, and most recently A&M have each identified deficiencies in governance, project management, and implementation. The former Board of External Auditors recommended a formal IT governance committee, which was established in 2017. Yet, that committee became dormant as soon as it was established under Executive Order 17-02. Likewise, my delegation's recommendations for formal project change and risk management functions were not implemented. Invariably, those same governance disciplines form part of the Bahamas' comprehensive and rationalized proposal that was submitted for the restructuring of the General Secretariat. Yet again, change management was omitted. Yet again, the risk management was omitted, and I think the Secretary General himself recommended both of those entities. Regrettably, we, the member states, chose the myopic, short-term comfort view over the long-term discipline of institutional reform. We are now confronting the governance deficiencies and the resulting expenditure for those decisions. Since 2018, the organization has invested well into $8 million into this program, including financial settlement costs of $360,000, and likely millions more of opportunity loss, and opportunity costs. At that level of investment, member states are entitled to much more than accounting of expenditures. Chair, ultimately, the assessment should answer the following questions. First, what measurable institutional value has the OAS Core delivered relative to investment to date? Second, what will it cost to complete the operation and maintain it on an annual basis? Third, what are the financial and operational and strategic implications of not completing the program? And fourthly, have the program's governance, project management, and change management, risk management arrangements been put in place? Fifth, does the OAS Core remain aligned with the organization's strategic objectives and with its future operating model? Finally, what option delivers the best long-term value and lowest risk and strongest return on investment for the organization? My delegation will submit its remarks in full because there are a lot of other technical components that we'd like to address. Ultimately, we would like the organization to judge its activities not by the sophistication of its technology, but by the ability of having measurable value to member states. I thank you and the Council for its kind attention.
Thank you, Delegation of Bahamas. We note your support for the measure, but again, your concerns will be noted and acted upon and be part of the records of this Council's merits. Okay. Oh, I should say approved again? Okay. If we have no more comments, as the next item, I consult the Council as to whether there is agreement to approve the minutes of the meetings 2473, to 2477, held in December 2023, and 2593 and 2594, held in May 2026. Approved. I would like to commend the Assistant Secretary General and her team for their proactive efforts in bringing to the Council's minutes up to date. With the approval of these minutes, the outstanding backlog of minutes from 2023 has now been cleared. I now recognize the Assistant Secretary General.
On behalf of myself and my team, Ambassador Farrell, thank you for your kind words. Le quería contar.
I wanted to let delegations know that on 27 June, a report was distributed regarding progress made on the minutes. As you know, when I became ASG exactly 1 year and 1 week ago, I wanted to focus on publication of the minutes. There were over 170 minutes. Some of these were for the Permanent Council from 2022 through 2025 when I became ASG, and then there were 8 from the Preparatory Committee for the General Assembly. My commitment and the commitment of my team has been to address the backlog while at the same time staying up to date with the new minutes being produced. Thus, today we have produced 97 minutes, and now, thanks to you, we are up to date with 2023. We produced 97, and we are up to date with all of the others. I also wanted to tell you that at this rate, if we're able to maintain it, we will be able to uphold our commitment to be fully up to date by the end of this year. Minutes are not merely an administrative exercise. They are an exercise in transparency and accountability, which facilitate the work and commitments of all member states and of all of us. I would like to thank my team, which has been working very hard on this. The entire team has been very committed. We will be fully up to date by the end of this year, and this will not happen again, this backlog. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Assistant Secretary General, and your team for this exemplary work. The floor recognizes the delegation of Chile.
Thank you very much, Chair. Our mission would like to congratulate the team of the Assistant Secretary General. As was mentioned, this is something that needed to be done and should be sustained over time. We appreciate this commitment because it allows us to have very useful information when we want to know what the contributions of everyone have been. Thank you.
Thank you, delegation of Chile. We will now proceed to the last item on the agenda, other business. I offer the floor to delegations wishing to raise matters of a strictly informal nature. I wish to remind delegations that pursuant to Article 445C of the Rules of Procedure, interventions under this item shall be limited to matters of strictly informational nature. The Chair will call to order any intervention that exceeds that scope. I also recall that matters of substantive nature may be addressed through the appropriate procedures established in the rules of procedures, including their timely inclusion on the agenda of a regular meeting, the convening of a special meeting, or the consideration by the relevant committees of the Council. The floor is now open. Recognize the delegation of Dominica.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do not know whether I'm breaking protocol, but I beg the indulgence of this council. I simply wanted to say congratulations to Ambassador Farrell on his assumption of this chairmanship. Ambassador, you have had a very long and distinguished public service life, and it will augur very well for this chairmanship, particularly in the area of governance. Once again, congratulations, and you have the full support of this delegation. Thank you.
Thank you, delegation of Dominica. I now recognize the delegation of Barbados.
Thank you, Chair, and congratulations on the assumption of the role of Chair of this Council. Chair, before we conclude our business today, the Barbados delegation seeks the indulgence of colleagues to mark the passing of one of our national heroes, the Right Excellent Sir Garfield St. Aubyn Sobers, who departed this life last Friday at the age of 89. History will remember Sir Gary as the greatest cricketer the world has ever known. Barbados, the Caribbean, and indeed the Americas will remember him for something even greater. He belonged to that rare company of individuals whose mastery of a craft came to represent far more than the craft itself. In him, excellence became identity, achievement became confidence, and sport became a language through which an emerging Caribbean announced itself to the world. Sir Gary came of age at a defining moment in our region's history, when Caribbean people were discovering that the measure of a nation was never its size, but the quality of its people. Long before the Caribbean occupied its rightful place in global affairs, Sir Gary had already earned the admiration of the world. Through discipline, humility, and extraordinary talent, he became one of our region's earliest and most enduring global ambassadors. On cricket fields across continents, he demonstrated that greatness knows neither geography nor circumstance. For millions throughout the Caribbean and across our diaspora, he gave tangible expression to a simple but transformative truth that we could compete with the very best, not merely as equals, but as leaders. His legacy, therefore, extends far beyond records, statistics, or sporting achievement. He helped shape the confidence of a post-colonial people. He affirmed the dignity of Caribbean excellence, and he reminded successive generations that our contribution to the world would always be measured by the strength of our character rather than by the scale of our economies or the size of our populations. I have a few personal recollections. I'll share just one with you. As at the time, aspiring and hopeful young cricketer myself, and a left-hander like Sir Gary, I decided at a certain stage to take up the game of golf. Reaching out to Sir Gary, I asked him whether he had a pair of old clubs that he could lend me before I invested significant sums in quality gear that I may never use. A few days after, a set of brand new clubs arrived at my home. I called Sir Gary and I referred to him as Sir G. I said, Sir G, you've sent me new clubs. I really wouldn't like to damage these while learning to play the game of golf. His response was, it's not a loaner. That's a gift from me. I hope you enjoy the game of golf. Fortunately, I was able to play a few rounds with him. I won't repeat the scores here lest I embarrass myself. As Barbados observes a period of national mourning, we celebrate not only an extraordinary sportsman, but a life that enlarged the aspirations of a nation and inspired the confidence of a region. Some people leave behind records. A very few people leave standing taller than they found them. Sagari did both. Barbados is deeply grateful for the many expressions of sympathy already received from governments, institutions, and friends across the world. We thank colleagues for permitting this tribute to a man whose life will forever remain one of the brightest chapters in the story of Barbados, the Caribbean, and the wider Americas. Mr. Chairman, colleagues, I thank you.
Thank you, delegation of Barbados. The chair recognizes the delegation of Haiti.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to add my voice to that of the other delegations to congratulate you on assuming the chairmanship of the Permanent Council and assure you of the full and complete cooperation of Haiti, on which you can count. During the General Assembly resolution that was adopted on Haiti, stipulated that the Secretary General should submit a report on the institutional architecture of the OAS with regard to its support for Haiti within 30 days after adoption of the resolution. To the extent that the Secretary General should soon be leading a delegation to Haiti, meeting with Haitian officials, the delegation has requested, given that, a report that should have been sent on the 23rd of July. And it has requested that report, that the report be submitted after the Secretary General's visit to Haiti. That would then provide the Secretary General and Haitian officials to agree and to have further, more in-depth consultations to better understand what structure might be most appropriate in order to implement the OAS projects for Haiti. So I just wanted to report that the Haitian delegation has requested the report, but it's requested that the report be submitted after the Secretary General's visit to Haiti and that of his delegation. Thank you.
Thank you, delegation of Haiti. The floor recognize the delegation of Guyana.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I want to join others in congratulating you on taking the chair of our PC, or OAS PC, and we have full confidence that you will do an excellent job. Chair, I want to thank all colleagues here, all countries who have expressed their sharing of the sadness and grief of Guyana and the Guyanese people on the recent tragedy, the capsizing of a steamer, the MV Barima. And currently, it seems as if about 100 persons would have lost their lives, including a number of children. Our government has set 3 days of mourning, today, Wednesday to Friday. Our embassy has opened a book of condolences for this period too, Wednesday to Friday. And we have a multi-faith evening of reflection on Friday evening at the embassy from 6 to 8 p.m. Thank you very much for all the expressions of shared grief in our tragedy. I thank you.
Thank you, delegation of Guyana. The chair recognizes the delegation of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Thank you, Chair. My delegation would just like to join the others in congratulating you on assuming the chairmanship of this August Permanent Council and to pledge our full support to you and to say that we are just looking forward to working with you as you achieve the objectives of your program. We also join the other delegations in extending condolences and sympathies to those member states who are in mourning at this time: Guyana, Mexico, Barbados, and St. Lucia. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, delegation of St. Kitts and Nevis. I now hand over the floor to the Secretary General for some brief comments.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I join others in congratulating your predecessor, Ambassador Alejandra Solano, who is steering this august body over the past 3 months up to the General Assembly, and wish her all the best in her future endeavors. Equally so, I want to thank you and congratulate you on your assuming this position, and we look forward to working with you closely, and the Secretariat stands ready to support you in any way we can. Thank you very much, and I wish you all the best. We also like to express condolences to Barbados on the passing of Sir Garfield Sobers, certainly a Caribbean sportsman, an icon of high caliber, not only in the Caribbean, not only in Barbados, certainly in the world as well. And we join in expressing our condolences on the passing of Ambassador Carmen Moreno of Mexico, who I had the pleasure and honor to work with in my previous term here as ambassador, but also in her capacity as Executive Secretary of the Inter-American Commission of Women. So she has certainly played an important role in the Organization of American States, and her commitment is well known. So our best wishes to and strengths to the family of Ambassador Moreno and the government of Mexico. And lastly, as we have just heard, the tragic ferry accident in Barima in Guyana, which cost the lives of more than 100 persons. We, of course, we have offered condolences and best wishes to the government and the people of Guyana in these difficult days. I took the floor, Mr. Chairman, with your permission, to share some information with regard to ongoing efforts of the Secretariat to improve the utilization of different rooms in this building, but also in the other building, in terms of real estate efficiency and real estate effectiveness. And in that context, several offices have been refurbished, renovated, updated, innovated in terms of technology and so on. The last one pertains to an important room which was underused, underutilized as a storage facility, which is right behind this Hall of the Americas, the Colon Room. For many, many years, since 2007, it was not used for functional purposes. And with support of the Office of the Executive Director, the Directorate for General Services, and with support of missions, we have been able, at a pretty low cost, to refurbish that room to a functional area available to member states. The cost was not more than a little bit over 65,000 US, for which we have done a full refurbishment. I invite you to take a look at it. At the moment, as I said, it is a general room available to member states to use for diplomatic missions, functions, for receptions, for protocolary activities, for conferences in small context. And at the moment, it is utilized as an exhibition space in the context of 250 years anniversary of US independence. I invite you, the exhibition is still on, and I invite you to take a look at it. But it's one way for us to make this building much more functional. And I wanted to inform you about that, so that when you see other activities happen, including in the permanent council room as well, it's possible. It's a short-term program in terms of improving, but the more elaborate and necessary renovation of this building on the long term will cost much more. It has not been budgeted, but it is necessary, including our Pan American Union building next door. And with that, we will establish very soon the necessary instruments to mobilize resources from different areas to start the renovation of this building, which will then bring us back in terms of the stature of this building to the level it used to be. But for now, I invite you to take a look. And if you would like to use that room, the Colon room, for small functions, then feel the Office of Protocol. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Secretary General, for this contribution. There being no further requests for the floor, I thank all delegates for your participation today. I wish to also apologize as I'm having this massive sore throat and irritation this morning. Sorry for this. It'll be better next time. Therefore, the meeting is adjourned, and thank you again for your attendance and participation. Yeah, just work on your nasty throat.